welcome. So, hey, I had a really good friend of mine reach out the other day, and he was listening to a mutual mentor that we have and had a couple questions. And he was so gracious to share. Carl, thank you so much. He was so gracious to share his notes from that call. And then he had a couple follow-up questions for me. He said as he was listening to the call, he really thought about me and wondered what my answers were to the question. And as I was thinking about the answer, I was like, this isn't just an answer for Carl. First of all, this is an answer for me. This is a great question, right? There's huge power in a really good question. And then, because, I am who I am, I thought, why not answer this in a podcast? So there's two questions that Carl asked. The first one is, he said, Michelle, have you always had an appetite for success? And the second question he said was, hey, what would you tell people if they have no hunger for success? Great questions. Can you tell Carl is a coach? Yeah, because he asked really good questions. Okay, so let me go in order here. So the first answer, have I always had an appetite for success? The easy answer, no. No. So he did ask me to elaborate. So I put down several examples here. The first was in high school. You got to understand that where I grew up and what I was exposed to, I was not really given the opportunity to dream, right? So this idea of success, I didn't know what success was. I just knew you had to show up to school every day. And it wasn't even you got to show up so you could get good grades or people like you or anything like that. It was show up because that was the best environment I could put myself in, okay? I remember in high school, a teacher coming by, I think it was the beginning of my junior year, and he was a teacher and a coach, and he came by and he's like, Michelle, where are you going to apply for college? And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, Michelle, what do you mean, what do I mean? Where are you going to apply to college? And I said, I'm not going to college. Why would I go to college? And you should have seen the look on his face. And he said, Michelle, you have an almost 4.0 GPA. You have been involved in every activity imaginable. You play 4 sports a year. You're excellent at everything that you try to do. What do you mean you're not going to college? And I was flabbergasted because, you see, I didn't know that success was even possible. I literally had no clue what I was going to do the next day, the next week, let alone the next couple years. So, yeah. No, I didn't have an appetite for success during high school. I mean, and I kind of didn't during college. I just knew I want to finish this thing, right? And right after college, I got married. At some point we started having children. And maybe I did see, okay, success is possible for me, right? But it was a really limited definition of success. I knew if I had a good marriage and I was a good mom, that I would be successful. Now, I was doing some teaching jobs and things at that time, so I wanted to be good at that as well. But I really wasn't looking beyond my home and my work. I wasn't looking at how could I serve people in a different capacity. And then, fast forward to several years, when I was 31, I had the blessing of having a stroke. It happened to be a normal day, and I was taking my almost 4-year-old at the time to preschool, and by the time I got back, I don't remember a whole lot. I remember waking up in the hospital and being told, you've just had a stroke. And it was an odd kind of a stroke. We actually ended up in Cleveland Clinic, and the doctor there diagnosed me, and pretty much he said, you're number 5 in the world that we know of that has this type of stroke. And FYI, you probably will always use a walker. You'll probably always have a speech impediment. And they did cognitive testing and found out I was at a 10th grade level. That kind of thing will really change your perspective. And so during that time in my life, about 2 years' time, there was absolutely no expectation that I was ever going to succeed at anything. I mean, I needed help to use the restroom, right? And then I started to grow. You see, I started to realize in that moment, if nobody else has any expectations, and I don't have to please anybody, and I don't have to make anybody in my life happy, what can I do? And I started to dream about what my life might look like. How can I grow myself? How can I grow my skills? How can I, build a business? Because at that time I knew I can't go back in the classroom and work with kids. So what am I going to do? And honestly, I began to get this dream of how can I go out and help other people? So, I think over time, my perspective definitely changed. My definition of success has definitely changed. And I found over time that my definition of success has changed drastically over and over again. It's not the same definition. So it used to be before, I want to make a lot of money and be able to pay for my stuff, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that I was being put into situations where, I was doing so much travel that I wasn't there for my kids. And that wasn't a good definition of success for me. Then I started doing more speaking and that was great, except I was being asked to speak on things that really, it wasn't my passion. I wasn't excited for it. It wasn't good for me. Right? And so I've adjusted my definition of success over time. And then guess what? COVID hits. Different definition of success now. Okay? I think some of the standards for me have stayed the same. I want to have fun because I know when I'm having fun, just like with this video, somebody's going to be blessed from that. I want to definitely help people. So it's not good enough for me just to talk. Okay, because quite frankly, if it was just about me getting up on stage and speaking to, 2,000 people just because, I wouldn't do it just for entertainment. I really want to help people. I want people to learn and to grow something, right? And I want to get paid. Okay, I don't want to get paid for what I bring, the value that I bring. And so those are definitions of success for me. Do I want all the tools or all the toys and stuff of life? That's not success to me. Maybe some of those will come, absolutely, but I really want to have fun and help people and make money in the process. Okay? So no, Carl, I have not always had an appetite for success. I had to develop that over time, which leads us to the second question. What would I tell people if they're not hungry for success? I would say the first thing that you could do is start to play around with ideas. Okay? And anybody can do this. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what situation you are in life. Anybody can do this. What might success look like? Okay, so when I first started out, just getting done with college was a definition of success, right? And then I changed that over time. What might it look like to you? Okay? And sometimes I think it's helpful if you think about 5 different areas of life. So your finances, your career, your personal growth, your relationships, and then, your health. I think I mentioned that. Anyway, so think about different areas of your life. Pick one of those. Okay, which one of those? And sometimes people will pick the one that they're already doing really good at. I think there's value to that. If you say, hey, the whole rest of my world is falling apart, but I am healthy. You could pick that one to work on and just go after that, right? Other people say, hey, everything else in the other areas is seemingly doing really well. So maybe I want to work on, relationships. Great. Totally up to you which one you pick. Pick one of those and start to make small changes. Find people out there who have the results that you want. Okay? Just this morning, I've already had a conversation with somebody who says, Michelle, how in the world are you building your email list? Because they understand an email list in a business is gold. Perfect. Let me tell you some strategies. I talked with another person who is working on speaking, and they're like, Michelle, I've authored 7 books, but I need to go out and speak on it, and I need to do videos. Can you help me? Absolutely. I've been doing 250 events for the last 10 years. Yes, 250 events a year for the last 10 years. Yes, I've been doing those. I can help you. Okay, I talked to somebody yesterday, and we spent 2 hours going through his whole social media plan for the next year. Yes, I can help you think about that because I've done that before. Okay, find somebody in your life who has the results that you want and try to stay close to them no matter what. Okay, if they're offering a course or a class or having some sort of group, buy into that group and just see what happens. Okay, continue to learn. So what happens with this whole idea of success is that it's a fire, right? So what you're seeing, Carl, in my life right now is a raging fire, right? Which I'm constantly throwing more and more and more wood onto so that it can get bigger, right? But all fires start with the same small spark, okay? That's all you're trying to do is just get a spark going, okay? You will revise your definition of success as you move forward. That's just fine, because what happens is, you say, hey, maybe I want to take this course with this person on how to do yoga, right? And you take the course and you're like, oh, that was awesome. That was a great definition of success. Well, now what? Right? So revise it as often as you need. Okay? And then ask yourself as you're going through. So I work with a lot of coaching clients in transition, and many of them are in jobs that they hate. And let's face it, many of them are in jobs that, as they're trying to deal with what's happening with the COVID pandemic, they have realized, yeah, this isn't my thing, right? You want to make sure that whatever your definition of success is, there's a few key points, okay? The first one is, do you love it? Do you love what you're doing? Okay, if you don't love it, do not do it. Do you have a passion for that thing, right? So maybe you're working on your health because you know that that's something you really need to do, but it's not your passion. Okay, find something that is and try to add the health aspects into it, right? So maybe you love being with your friends. Relationships are really good for you. Great. Go for a walk. Work on your health that way. Okay? And are you learning? Okay, if you're not learning something while you're doing, so I often tell people this, when you're looking for that next job, what is that next job going to be able to teach you? You're not just looking for, is it good benefits and pay? No. Is there an opportunity for you to learn and to grow at this place? Because there's always going to be a what's next. And if that job isn't helping you towards your what's next, you shouldn't be doing it. Okay? If you have those three things, so you love it, you have a passion for it, you're learning and growing, revise your definition of success all the time, and you will be a success. Okay? So if you don't have an appetite for it, that's okay. Just get started. All you need is a little tiny spark. Okay? Hey, Carl, that's my answer. I hope that serves you well. And for everybody else, thank you so much for joining us today. With that, I release you into the wild. Go forth and prosper. Have an amazing day. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.